You hit me as a little kid and you're doing it as an adult. Mentally, you are destroying my inner peace. Why do I want to know you, Dad? Why?
These are my unofficial words.
This is a serious discussion. I'm not talking lightly.
There are times when I've gone to the casino and I get back late on a Sunday, and the program's already over, so I missed it.
Let me ask you this. This thought crossed my mind. Is your eligibility for stimulus money all exhausted? Also, are you a food stamp recipient still? Is the real big question. Are you a food stamp recipient? Is the real big question. The real big question. The real big question. In the last, say, 6 months since the first edition, or thereabout. Are you a food stamp recipient? I don't mean that in a satirical way. Getting it. Are you going to become a ward of the state? Here I am, Mr. State of California. Sock it too. Can you imagine if my attitude was like this and I had your mother and yourself and your brother and sister to support? You folks would be living, all of us would be living under a damn bridge someplace. As a parent, and I guess a concerned fellow American citizen, don't you? I don't care if you feel a guilt trip. You probably don't. I don't have a magic wand, and I don't have any special abilities to somehow line you up with work. I'm not your fairy godmother. I'm just your father, and nothing. You know, the older you get, the far less employable you're going to be. You're going to be living probably one of the most honest, mediocre situations in society. It's a sorry-ass choice. In my opinion, you don't have any true excuses. You may have some, you really, really don't. And God helps those who help themselves. That's wholly inadequate. I guess you're sort of refusing to do some soul searching. You're still using marijuana every day? Is that right? Yeah, see, that's part of your problem. If you've given up alcohol, that's a good start. But the marijuana, so long as you let that mandate your life, you are doomed with a capital D and an exclamation point after the last D. You are doomed. You are doomed with a capital D and an exclamation point after the last D. You are doomed. Maybe I don't need to send a check for this marijuana stuff. I told you about probably 2 months ago. I'm going to be looking into undergoing some testing for the presence of marijuana in your system. That I want this situation to get rectified. I love marijuana so damn much. I don't need your money. I don't need any support for you. You don't even have to pray for me. I've got to have this marijuana. I'm absolutely, unconditionally condemning the use of marijuana. I want you to rectify yourself. And speaking from a spiritual church situation, the Catholic Church expressly denounces the idea of the recreational use of marijuana.
Recreational use?
No, I don't want you to do anything using any type of substance. There are some medical physicians out there that they have sold their soul to the devil. You need to prove to me that there is a medical physician who has established, without reservation, that what you're doing is good for your body. The thing is, I think what it's doing is that it leaves you in a bit of a haze of sorts. These are my unofficial words. And that you can't function at a 40-hour-a-week job. You'd have a hard time maybe either staying awake or being alert or being as productive as an employer would expect you to be. You know what? As soon as it comes out that a person's using some form of what is perceived to be a potentially illicit drug, they're going to say, here's the door. I want you to straighten up your situation and lie right. That marijuana is your idol on this earth, then we may have to part company. And so if you can find a physician that will substantiate your position, I want to see his credentials. I don't want some flim-flam doctor that has sold his soul to the devil and say, yeah, give me $300, I'll write whatever the hell you want. There are physicians that do stuff like that. And that's a shame, because they've sold their soul to the devil.
You keep on mentioning this crap about selling your soul to the devil. Do you know how many priests are touching kids right now?
Don't diverge on talking about your use of marijuana. I don't. If you've got some opinions about Catholic priests, we'll talk about that some other day. That has nothing to do with your indulgence of marijuana, John.
But what is worse? What is worse, a priest touching a kid or an individual having some medicine?
Well, you call it medicine.
Right, it is.
If you have the luxury of getting to heaven, and I hope that is the case, you can have point blank and say, God, why didn't you make this plant? And he'll give you a...
Why don't you pray about it right now? Since you don't understand the plant, but I do, why don't you pray and ask that question? Yes, no, you are the problem. You're causing the problem. This is why I don't call you often. This is because of your threats to me, Dad. You beat me up as a little kid. You hit me as a little kid, and you're doing it as an adult. Mentally, you are destroying my inner peace. Why do I want to know you, Dad? Why?
What you need to do is come to grips with your problem.
What you need to do is love and accept me.
Not as a drug user.
Because I'm not a drug user.
Anyhow, we've been talking about the clock.
You've been lecturing me. You called me up to haze me. For what?
No.
I need your love and support and help. I don't need your condemnation. And that's all you do. And you think you're so Christ-like. You're laughing over there at me while I'm over here fired up and frustrated to the point where I don't want to know you or talk to you. Constantly question, why do I have a relationship? Because I'm dependent on you for money and love.
Say this.
Why do I want to know you?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, you don't, because you don't know me. I don't ever get to say anything to you. All you do is call me up and lecture at me.
I want you to resolve the marijuana issue.
No shit, you want me to resolve it? What else do you want me to resolve? Working 40 hours a week?
Well, I don't know. I mean, you know,
I'm in the middle of a pandemic. How much control do I have?
Well, what are you going to do to rectify it? Excuses don't pay bills.
Right.
You know that.
So it's all in my control.
There'd be a lot of people paying him that way, but that dog.
You said that metaphor to me so many times. That dog doesn't.
True. It's a
Right.
true statement.
You are a broken record to me. You've not been a father. You've only been a broken record.
Okay. Well, fine. Well, anyhow, I want you to implement what
I want you to implement what I've asked you to do too. Is say, Dad, you don't need all these properties in Houston. Why don't you divest?
I'm going to close with this statement. What you have done, and or in the alternative, have failed to do of your own volition, in my opinion, disqualifies you on its face from being a property owner unless you acquire the property on your own. But for me just to say, okay, you need a house, let me just give you one. At this point,
Your brother did that for his son. Why are you above that?
Well, the whole thing is, why are you injecting my brother history?
Frank, Dad, how about this? When Mark graduated college, Dad, 2001 happened yet? No, it hadn't. The economy collapsed at the time of my graduation. There were no jobs.
So that's an excuse? That's an excuse. No jobs that you wanted to work. You can put it in true perspective with a very broad brush of paint. That's a joke.
Okay, that's a joke. Is to when did your father start handing out properties to his kin? That's a joke that I haven't gotten any because he started handing them out when you were my age.
Well, you know, playing field.
Right. When has the playing field ever been level for me?
Well, you haven't put much in the pot to stir.
Dad, I mowed your lawn. I mowed your lawns. I got a real estate degree.
No, you did all that. You didn't. You weren't not compensated. And whatever you did with the money was your prerogative. You could have saved some of it, but you elected, no, I'm going to indulge and spend it however I want. If you want to talk about comparisons, talk about a level playing field where you have independently contributed the sweat of your brow. And
Dad, I've done that. I have done that, and when I independently contribute the sweat of my brow, I get paid for peanuts, for either minimum wage or.
Nobody told you to work that job for that money.
Dad, you told me I've got lawns to mow, and I'm paying this much. You guys take it or leave it.
A lot of that preceded your college days.
And a lot of it preceded my. But when you made my asthma lungs mow your adult lawns for kid wage labor or whatever, I wasn't mature enough to know any better, and you took advantage of my child labor and my child lungs.
Okay. So now all of a sudden I'm an unscrupulous employer. Is that it?
You employed your children for nothing. You gave us jobs for peanuts and did yourself the favor, not us.
I'm going to close by saying I will keep you in my prayers, but I want you to diligently work to get away from this marijuana. And if you elect not to, well then, like I say, if we part company, it's not where I won't talk to you, because that's what you said earlier. I'm happy to talk to you, but my vein of thought is not going to step away from what I've just stated. I'm entrenched in my position, I guess as much as you're entrenched in your position that you swear by marijuana.
You can't even get the name of it right. You know that it takes less syllables to say cannabis than it does marijuana, yet you still...
Okay, it's a matter of semantics, Sage, okay? It's a matter of semantics, okay? Marijuana is marijuana. And I guess I want to be in the in-crowd, I can call it Mary Jane while I'm at it, right?
Frank, you just don't understand it, and because...
Don't call me Frank ever, I told you don't do that. You're stepping in thin ice.
Why are you so particular about even what a name can be called? Why?
You know what? I could have called you a lot of things, but you've never heard me call you anything but except by your name.
Well, I'm calling you by your legal name. Why do you...
No. Okay, fine. You step on some thin ice like over there in Green Bay, Wisconsin, where the ice is melting because winter's coming to a conclusion. Fall in and drown yourself. That can happen in that direction. And achieve it, not just work at it on a half-ass basis. Commit yourself.
Commit myself to what? To making you happy?
No, to make yourself a better man, John. You're not a man, Johnny.
Mm-hmm.
You're acting like a child, okay? You're acting irresponsibly, and you have the adult knowledge to rectify that.
You should have the Christian heart to give me help with
implementing them. Because one of these days, you're going to find yourself arguably placing yourself under money, or maybe sleeping in your car. You've indulged in some of that previously, and I even commented that you got a big 40-foot long vehicle or whatever it was, and I paid storage fees for days on end, months on end, I should say.
And it's still getting to you? It's still getting to you? Is that still wearing on you?
It just came to my mind now.
But when you look at your bank account, does it still envy you that it's not larger?
No, not at all. Yeah, what makes me aggravated is my son. I need something in the front seat with me, and the front seat situation should be someone who's contributing to my financial welfare. You have blinded yourself. You've got blinders on. You've got tunnel vision.
So,
My eyes are wide open.
well, I'm living in poverty. I live in an apartment. Y'all own several properties. How are your eyes wide open and I'm the one that's blind? I need help and you won't give it to me. I'm asking for help. Do you expect me to have a family and be happy?
No. I didn't say anything about that. I expect you first and foremost to be responsible for yourself. You can deal with the family situation later. You gotta put it all into perspective. You don't become a family man just out of the blue and say, well, how the hell am I gonna pay for these kids every month? How am I gonna support my wife? You take care of yourself first, and then you entertain marriage, John. Okay, I gotta go. Bye.
Opinion, you don't have any true excuse. It's a sorry-ass choice.
Because the whole thing is, I think what it's doing is that it leaves you in a bit of a haze of sorts.
Because the whole thing is, I think what it's doing is that it leaves you in a bit of a haze.
Lucky, wake up. What? Your luck's just about run out. You look like the most unlucky person. I'm having a problem with my intestines. I was wondering if you could attach my small intestine, what's left of it, to my colon. You should look like you're in pain and stuff.
Okay, I gotta go. Bye.